When I first started working with Lisa Mensah 3-4 years ago, when she was Undersecretary at U.S. Department of Agriculture, I saw her strength, her intelligence, her stubbornness to push through the program. But I never knew that 3 years later, we would literally be joined at the hip. Turns out that Bank of America, when you run the CDFI program, you work a lot with OFN. But beyond our relationship as an investor and the leader of Opportunity Finance Network, Lisa Mensah works with us in so many other ways, including as an advisor to our senior executives and managers on the National Community Advisory Board. Let me put it this way. I've got only 3 custom ringtones on my phone. Only 3 numbers that break through 24 hours a day. It is my wife, my dad, and Lisa Mensah. Without further ado, please welcome the President, the CEO of Opportunity Finance Network, and my very dear friend, Lisa Mensah.
That is great. Thank you, Dan. Thank you so much, Dan. And thanks to Bank of America for your sponsorship and to all of the sponsors in this room. We're so grateful for your commitment to this whole field of opportunity finance. You help make this conference possible and our work and our industry more powerful. So also to my OFN board colleagues, on behalf of this network of more than 270 CDFIs, I thank you. I thank you for your leadership and your vision. And one other big thank you. One of our annual goals this year was to grow our membership. And I'm pleased to say that 30 CDFIs have joined us since our last conference. So let me welcome you newcomers and say hello. It's great, welcome. So I want to tell you a brief story about how an event in another country, on another continent, really reinforced for me the power of CDFIs in the United States. I have Ghanaian roots. My father was from Ghana. And in August, I went to Ghana for the start of the Year of Return. This is the anniversary that marks the 400 years since the beginning of the Atlantic slave trade. And the year-long event offers the African diaspora a chance to heal from hideous trauma. Visiting Ghana for this overwhelming return made me reflect on our tenacious band of CDFIs back here in the US. And I thought about how CDFIs address systemic injustices in America. And I thought about how CDFIs tap into America's unique rights and resources to soothe America's unique pain. Being in Africa for such a meaningful milestone made me so proud to be part of CDFI healing in my homeland. And I'm especially moved to be with you here today with so many new and familiar faces. So as you now know, the theme of this conference is lending where it counts. Lending where it counts is our purpose. It's what motivates CDFIs and it's what distinguishes us. We do this lending not just where it counts, but for the people who count. And I want to speak today about the people who count for CDFIs, people who count in America. And I'm not just talking about a census, I'm talking about the fundamental principles that we embrace as a nation. The belief that all are welcome in the United States, the belief that all are welcome to the American dream of equality and prosperity. I don't have to tell the people in this room that that promise is not fulfilled for far too many people. You know it. It's why you're here right now. Every day, CDFIs lend in rural and urban and native communities where people are in many ways treated like they don't count. It's hard to feel you count when banks leave and hospitals close, when quality jobs are elusive and safe and affordable housing is scarce. It's hard to feel you count when you're denied a mortgage or a small business loan, when you're denied a chance because of an arrest or a conviction record, when you can't get on the mobility ladder, let alone climb it. It's hard to feel you count when your very right to be in this country is a matter of violent debate. These are painful truths in America, but they are not the whole story. CDFIs exist because we believe that every person counts. We believe that all communities count. Because when a CDFI makes a loan to a bright and excited entrepreneur, we're saying, you count. When we extend a mortgage to a first-time homebuyer, we're saying, you count. When we finance a rural health center or open a small-town credit union, we're saying, you count. Because CDFIs see opportunity and potential in people and places. We seek out those diamonds in the rough. We invest in future successes. We move money into communities because all people count. So one of the joys of my job is crisscrossing this country on CDFI borrower visits. And I get to personally witness what I will call the CDFI effect. Recently, I was in Hawaii at an OISTA event. And native events and native CDFIs, like OISTA, they lend where it counts because native people count. And in Hawaii, I met OISTA's board member, Robin Danner. And Robin founded the Council for Native Hawaiian Advancement. And today she leads the Homestead Community Development Corporation. She's also a native Hawaiian from the island of Kauai. And Robin and I had a beautiful conversation, and I want to share some of what we talked about. We talked about injustice. We talked about how nearly 100 years ago, Congress established a land trust to protect Native Hawaiians and to improve the lives of Native Hawaiian people. But since then, there hasn't been a regular source of capital dedicated to supporting the homes or the farms or the businesses on this land that was protected for them, not until native CDFIs stepped in. Weavers of capital and culture, native CDFIs are financial institutions, yet what they offer is much more profound than money. And Robin spoke about this so powerfully. She spoke about how capital is as essential as air on native lands. She said that native CDFIs don't provide access to capital. They support life. For native people, CDFIs are the oxygen that the farms need to thrive. They're the oxygen that the businesses need to grow. And they're the oxygen that people need to live. And Robin explained how native CDFIs help undo years of disinvestment that generations of Native Hawaiians have internalized to mean that they don't count or that they're not capable of cultivating prosperity. And she made the beautiful case that Native communities are, in her words, a damn good investment. Because when capital flows in Indian country, community expands, and people stay where their history is. And when capital flows, Native people know they count, and they blossom. I can say that Native CDFIs reflect the universal CDFI ethos that's in this room, and that is dig in, be smart, stay the course, and bring everyone along. So I like that as our ethos. I'm so proud that our industry is shaped by such successful idealists and brilliant, resourceful investors. Investors who see opportunity where others see risk. While CDFIs are mission-driven, we also have expertise that no other financial sector can claim. CDFIs are perfect partners in complex deals that require flexibility. We know how to layer money and pull in multiple forms of public and private capital to help leverage the strengths of local communities. And we partner with those communities on locally driven, place-based solutions that support affordable housing and small businesses and consumer finance. So I don't want to talk only about Hawaii. Let's take a trip from the Aloha State to Motown. After the Great Recession, many were skeptical about Detroit's resilience, but CDFIs stepped in. While mainstream finance said no, we said yes. Yes, Detroit matters to America. Yes, we'll take the risk. And I'll give you an example. So the Community Reinvestment Fund, a national CDFI that I hope is out here, partnered with Kresge and Ford Foundations, the City of Detroit, the Michigan State Housing Development Authority, and local banking partners to create a specialty product called the Detroit Home Mortgage. The program bridges the appraisal gap by enabling Detroit homeowners to borrow on a home's true value instead of its appraised value. And when traditional lenders couldn't make mortgages because of that gap, Community Reinvestment Fund and its partners walked toward the problem with a creative solution. And it's a solution that's working. Since Detroit Home Mortgage was launched in 2016, the number of mortgages in the city has rebounded to pre-recession levels, recovering over a decade of losses to the market. That's right. So CRF is part of a brilliant group of national and regional and Michigan-based CDFIs that are firmly established as champions for Detroit. And I don't want to miss everybody, so I want to name a few more. There's the Capital Impact Partners, and Sinair, and LISC Detroit, and IFF, and the Housing Partnership Network. There's CSH, and Enterprise. And all of these joined locally based CDFIs like Invest Detroit, and Detroit Development Fund, and so many more. And with this kind of deep bench of bank and foundation partners, these committed investors have formed the Detroit CDFI Coalition to catalyze growth in the Motor City. Today, Detroit's showing those signs of resurgence, and CDFIs have played a major role in the sparking of the recovery. And Detroit's Mayor, Michael Duggan, really said it best. He said, what CDFIs have done is brought about redevelopment at rates I never thought I'd see. So of course, the city continues to face challenges, but we CDFIs, we play the long game, and we are in Detroit to stay. And why? Because Detroit counts. The people of Detroit count. So when I see CDFI work in Detroit or in Native communities in Hawaii, I struggle with one question. Why isn't our industry bigger? Nationwide, CDFIs, we manage now assets of $185 billion, and this is a whole lot of money, but it's really not enough. We're a billion-dollar industry now, but we're in a trillion-dollar fight against persistent poverty and pervasive disinvestment. We know that CDFIs move money into hard-to-reach places, and we know that we can fill capital and knowledge gaps, and we know how to do it sustainably and successfully. So why isn't this industry scaling exponentially? Why don't municipal and state governments turn to us more? Why are we still only one line of funding in the federal budget? Sure, the CDFI fund is so vital to us. We're glad that the US Congress is on track to maintain it, or maybe even increase it for the CDFI fund in the coming year. But instead of $250 million or $300 million, we need $1 billion. And we need more, yes. We do. And frankly, we need more federal departments and agencies to step up and be our partners, because CDFIs have been responsibly lending for more than 30 years. Our loan loss rate is consistently below 1%. So why don't more foundations and impact investors know about us? You know? Exactly, this is the question. Why haven't more socially conscious investors joined the CDFI fight against injustice? Because our industry has earned the right to grow, and we're ready to take on more. But we do need novel forms of capital to fuel us. That's our fight. So last year, OFN moved to Washington, D.C. to represent our membership in the nation's seat of power. And from our new perch on D Street, we can better amplify the CDFI message with policymakers and align ourselves with others in the fight for equity and civil rights. And we're already getting our word out. I want to give you a few examples of what's been happening since we got here this year. So our policy staff is on Capitol Hill regularly to meet with congressional offices. And I've been invited to the table of important public policy discussions. In July, I presented the CDFI case to the Democratic Whip's Task Force on Poverty and Income Inequality and Opportunity. And just this month, I made the CDFI case to the Federal Reserve Board of Governors about the importance of price stability and low inflation in today's economy. And I continue to make the CDFI case in numerous conversations about the potential changes to the Community Reinvestment Act. And in DC, we've joined forces with the Responsible Business Lending Coalition to help combat abusive practices in small business lending. With our members, we've been pushing for the continuation of that CDFI bond guarantee program with its $500 million in guarantee authority. And of course, affordable housing remains an ongoing challenge, one that we're actively involved in solving. Our board has met with the Federal Housing Finance Agency leadership, and we've written comment letters to ensure that lower income and first-time homebuyers can access qualified mortgages. And we've been working closely with our housing partners to make certain that federal programs like the Capital Magnet Fund receive the strong support and continue to provide affordable housing options. We also have our eyes on new tax policies. We're in the opportunity zone trenches with you, and we're working to make the tax code better for CDFIs. And all of this work is just a lot easier from our new perch in DC. So I firmly believe that this type of activity builds a nationwide momentum for our industry. We are poised to grow. As I said at OFN's conference last year, and I'm going to say it again, now is our time. And I also want to say that while we did a lot of talking this year, we also did a lot of listening. OFN's board of directors and senior staff spent many days speaking directly to our members and our investors to understand the challenges and the opportunities that you face. We heard your suggestions and concerns for the industry, and your voices are what will guide us as we cultivate new investor groups and create new financing programs to grow and scale the industry. And I invite everyone to come to our annual membership meeting tomorrow morning to hear more about what our research, what our listening has revealed. So I'm going to close by bringing it all back to the people, back to why I think we need to grow. We need to grow for people like Ty and John Bullock in Charleston, West Virginia. They're a father and son team that run Bullock Properties. CDFI Natural Capital Investment Fund extended a construction loan to the family business for the purchase of a large empty storefront in Charleston's historic Elk City community. Ty and John, who are from the area, restored the space to its 4 original retail stores. And this renovation was part of the Bullock's larger effort to revitalize the area. And in an age where everything is available with a click of a mouse, they understand that people still need barbershops and cafes and art galleries. They know we can't survive online, but want places to congregate and connect in person and as a community. NCI Fund and the Bullocks are investing for people, and together they're helping restore their corner of Appalachia into a 21st century community with 21st century opportunities. They're anchoring people to the region. This investment relationship is what community development is all about. It's what CDFIs are all about, and it's where lending counts. Investment and community building like this are why you're here today and why you continue to fight the good fight. Our work counts. It counts just about everywhere and just about for everyone. Our borrowers know it, our investors know it, our partners know it, and our champions in Congress know it. We need more people to know our work counts, and you can help us. So I've got a call for action. First, to the policymakers and the investors. and the partners. And here it is. We're here. Invest in us. Build with us. Let's multiply the impact of your money. For every dollar of funds, federal or otherwise, invested in our CDFIs, we know that CDFIs attract $12 from other sources. And my call to action for the CDFIs, particularly for our OFN members, is this. You do remarkable work with very lean teams. Let's go deeper together. There's so much pain that needs healing, so much injustice that needs our response. Let's walk together in the fight for civil rights and to help close those deep fissures that poverty creates. Let's go deeper together and change the narrative for the communities that are told they don't count. Together, let's invest even more in the passion and the skill and the knowledge in our rural and urban and Native people. So to everyone here today, my call is, let's unite. Let's say to the people of Detroit and Elk City, in Native and Latinx communities across the US, let's say to people in the Deep South and the remote North and on both coasts, let's say we see you. You are important. You belong, and you count.